What's up? Good morning. Welcome to Trading Live with Bubba. Well, there was a little action earlier this morning, and markets continue to rise. Very sad day in America, obviously. Charlie Kirk shooting yesterday. And, of course, 9/11, the 24th anniversary of 9/11. So pretty tragic all the way around. Very eerie. Lots of bad stuff happening. But, then the markets continue to go higher. They don't care about nothing. And that's one thing you always have to remember is the markets and the world and the economy don't have to necessarily mesh at the same time. Right now, let's see, we can go there. Right now, not much to do at the moment. There was some trades earlier, as I said, and maybe we'll get some. Our open trades are in good shape, so that's good news. And we'll see what else seems to come from here. But again, it is rather slow. This is one of the issues we're dealing with. A lack of real movement. You get potentially looking at maybe a sell on the NASDAQ here, but obviously we'd like to see a little bit more speed. Again, there's just not a lot happening at the moment. Certainly, of course, an MU Micron. Now, one of the problems I would like to sell, I'd like to short Micron through selling deep in the money call spreads, but it does have earnings next week, so I don't want to put myself in a position there. But as we look at the rest of the board, Apple, after getting trounced for a couple of days, came back, and I didn't get down to a point where we would buy it. It's really just stuck in a range. It's still 235 or so to 240, 225 to 240, somewhere in that area. Amazon came off, as we talked about the other day. That was a good spot to sell it if you chose to do so. Coin came up. Again, we didn't have a trade. Now you're getting to a spot that you may want to consider selling it. But remember, the overbought and oversold conditions work well, but we're in a very narrow range here. So that makes it that takes away a little bit, because now we are expecting a very big move out of coin, and we don't know the direction. But when markets continue to stay in a very tight range, they're going to break one way or the other. Now, right now, the S&P, for example, is breaking to the upside. We're on highs, so we'll see. Okay. Again, I don't make predictions. I just trade the charts that I'm given. Crowd from last week, we were buyers. This week, we could now be sellers. But I would prefer, again, with the tightening up of the market, I'd prefer to sit it out here. Because, again, I know that there's going to be a big move one way or the other. I would suspect it could be both ways, up and down. First up, as we're seeing this morning, if you watched yesterday, you saw a market that was higher that fell apart. I think very important for you to watch the VIX. Okay. As long as the VIX keeps going down, we're going to keep going up. But, again, we don't have anything to do right now from a day trading standpoint. So let's go back to our board over here. So crowd is certainly a potential sell. Again, I'm not going to do it. I'm getting, as the days wear on, I'm getting more conservative. After doing this for 47 years, you learn that you don't always have to be involved. But I will point out things that I may look at. Ether is nothing. Meta, okay, again, in the middle of nowhere. Google, which we did sell, is in. It is coming in. Now, again, this could be close because it still could be a loss before it's over. You could take it off now for a small profit. INOQ breaking out as well. Now, this is one you could look for. But again, we're right up against some very overbought conditions. Certainly, if I were going to do anything here, I'd like to be a seller. But again, I'm not looking to be overly aggressive here. One of the biggest problems is the lack of action in the market and the lack of activity that we have. So that takes away the speed. That takes away the emotion. That takes away just about everything. So unless you give me what we'll call a no-brainer, I'm going to just be more on the sidelines waiting, because I don't see any reason to be overly involved here. MP, this is one we talked about the other day. You could have sold put spreads, and we did not. Again, I don't make a ton of extra trades, especially in the conditions that we have right now. To me, it's not worth it. I would rather sit back and wait. As we said the other day, watch the 500 level in Microsoft. Well, here we are. We're still hovering on either side of 500. So there's really not much to do. Let's just take a peek back here and see if there's anything worth looking at. Kind of flattening out a little bit here now. And either we're flattening out because they're going to turn them over, or flattening out because they're going to make another big run later in the day. But right now, I have no idea. I'm not going to try to outsmart or outguess it. Monster, again, nothing really to do. NNE, nothing to do. Nugget continues to go up. We did not sell the other day. I told you I already got my ass handed to me twice on this, so I'm gonna wait for a little bit longer. But certainly, you can see the benefit of the leveraged ETF when you're trading it. Again, they're not good for investing; they are good for trading. But this is representative of gold. It's up 1%. GLD is down today. Okay, it's down 1/3%. So you can see the difference, especially when these get rolling. Okay, the multiplier works faster and faster. NVIDIA, right in the middle of nowhere. We did have we did sell it the other day. We saw put spreads, so that's a winner. Palantir, nothing really for us to do. QBTS, nothing really for us to do. The Qs breaking out to new highs. Again, this is not a horrible spot, but once again, if you're a chartist or you understand patterns, this is a cup and handle pattern, okay? Which is basically, this would be like the cup, okay? And this is the handle, okay? And there's the breakout. That's one of the most bullish patterns there are. I don't use them often because they take too long to develop. I think there's a lot of things you can do before they get there. But either way, that is something to note. It works best, obviously, in an uptrend. SMCI, again, we talked about it the other day. We did not do anything here, and there's nothing to do today. The SPY, breaking out the new highs. Again, I would be more inclined to be a seller here. I think that it's the right trade. But again, I'm going to go back to, I'm not in a hurry to get involved because of the lack of activity. Okay. That's one of the important things you have to remember. When there's a lack of volume and there's a lack of trade, dull markets from a selling perspective are very challenging. Okay. Because markets tend to drift higher no matter what. Remember, new money flows in every day on the buy side. Okay. And without sellers, and I do not think that the big banks and the big players are playing right now. I think you're seeing a lack of players. So at the end of the day, again, it's not that you shouldn't. It just depends on what your risk tolerance is and where you want to be. The Square, XYZ, not really much to do here. Tesla is probably a sell here. But again, you're in a very narrow range in Tesla. You're in a $40 range, which doesn't sound narrow, but for Tesla, it's pretty narrow. So certainly you could look at it. But again, I'm going to choose to be a non-participant right now. I don't see any real reason to get involved here. I think we'll just watch the day trade ability here. And remember, next week you also have triple witching expiration, which doesn't really mean anything. If you are a futures trader, rollover starts today for the futures, the Dow, the S&P, the NASDAQ. So those will start rolling today. You don't have to roll until next week if you have a current position. But if you're just going to trade them, then probably either by Monday, you want to be trading the December. Okay. If you're holding a position, no hurry until Monday or Tuesday of next week. Excuse me. If you're trading, when we get back together on Tuesday, we'll be using December. But for now, we're still using still using September, but there's no action anyways. It doesn't really matter. Okay. So we have to be prudent in our decision making. I think that sometimes we have a tendency to want to get too much involved and too quickly involved, and I think that's always a mistake. I think that you're better off being patient because when you do get busy, you don't want to be stuck when you're busy, when it finally gets busy, and then you wonder what to do. Okay. These are extremely challenging markets to trade right now. Okay. And I would say to you that I would be very, very careful trying to get too overly involved, because there's not enough movement. There's not enough swing back and forth. Again, we're not getting any triggers to make any trades here. So we're not going to do anything. We're not even getting out to 3 standard deviations, which is where we would also consider taking a trade. But again, I have to urge you to remember that sometimes it's better to be patient and sitting on the sidelines versus trying to be overly active. And if you, as always, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. There's a chat you can chat in. I'll be happy to answer any of your questions over here. I mean, I don't have a lot to do, and I don't have a lot to say right now because there's not much to do. Okay. My lean would be, if I were looking to do something, I would lean to sell premium and in the Qs and the spiders. But again, I'm not all that interested right now, because I think it's just too slow for us to be involved. And I don't think that we have as big of edge as we'd like to get. So for my money, I'd rather, just again, sit it out. But at the end, that's what you have to weigh is, how involved you want to get and what is the probability. Well, we don't really have, there's not a stretch up. So I don't have a high probability that they will fail. I think that I'm going to be watching more or less the VIX most of the time. And if the VIX can turn around, then I think the market can turn around. Then I might reevaluate and look at some of these other things. But for now, once again, I remind you that, look, I'm not interested right now. Again, I've been doing this for 47 years. And for me, sometimes there's just nothing to do. And this happens to be the period. I mean, we've been in this period for quite a while now. But again, if you can be patient, you'll have plenty of ammo when it comes time to trade. Okay. And right now, the NASDAQ's coming up to a solid resistance level here, up around between 18 and 22. Look, it's probably a reasonable sale, but I don't want to get involved yet. I'm only going to trade with you today if we get a blow off. I'm not going to do anything outside of the ordinary. Again, I don't think you have the edge to do anything outside the ordinary right now. It's too slow, not enough action. And again, it's hard to, when the markets are just grinding higher with no two-way action, it's hard to want to get too excited. So we will obviously continue to look and watch, and hopefully we'll get a trade. We did have 4 trades this morning, just around the opening, which all worked. That doesn't do you any good, but again, it is slow. We should have more. Okay. But again, sometimes, you know what? As they say, you got to trade the market you got, not the market you want. So again, I would just urge you to be a little bit more cautious here than normal. I think that, again, there's not a huge edge for any of us to get involved. So if we don't have a big edge, why would we want to be actively involved? Okay. I think that's something that you always have to remember. What's in it for me? That's what I want to know. And if I don't see anything in it for me, then why should I want to get overly involved? Okay. So we'll see if anything shows up for us. If not, well, then it'll be a no trade day, but we've done pretty well on this call as a regular basis, and we will continue to try to do so. But we are not going to, one thing we're not going to do is we're not going to force anything. Okay. That's one thing I will not do. I will not force a trade. So we'll see. But right now, I don't see anything coming. We'll wait till 8:16. Well, actually, was it 11:16? It's 8:16 in the West Coast. And if nothing shows up, then we'll just call it a day. I just don't, again, I'm not going to force a trade in here, and nor am I going to have you force a trade. I don't see the purpose or the reason for it. So, basically we have a non-starter day, but we have some winners that'll come off tomorrow, which is fine. Again, I can't stress to you enough that you got to learn to be more cautious. You don't get paid for making a lot of trades. You get paid for winning trades. Okay. You don't get paid for churning yourself. Okay. So, remember, everything we do costs money. So you don't want to start churning the market because you end up paying high commissions. Even at low rates, you still pay high. A lot of fees involved. So again, I urge you to be very cautious and very careful in these conditions. For me, truthfully, I'm going to play poker today, okay, at the casino. I'm not interested in seeing this market. Again, and I play a lot of golf because when there's no trade, there's no reason for me to be here. Okay. So, all right. Well, we're not going to get anything. So we will see you next Tuesday. In the meantime, remember, every day I do a Market 120, give you a little update of what I think is going to happen during the day. And have a great weekend, everybody. I'll see you on Tuesday. Enjoy the game tonight. And I do like the Skins or the Commanders. Adios.
You know how the financial world goes. Here comes the buzzkill. Please make sure to take some time to read this boring disclaimer. We will owe you one.